up in the bleacher area. Great to see so many interested people from Port Hope and Hope Township out for this evening. My name is Jim Ronson, and I'm the acting chairperson of the PHRA, the Port Hope Ratepayers Association. Welcome to the audience and to our candidates. And on behalf of the Port Hope Ratepayers Association, I would like to say that this should be an interesting and exciting race for mayor. All of our mayoral candidates this evening are new. We have no incumbent, so it should be an interesting evening, and it so far has been an exciting election. The purpose of our meeting tonight is for you to get to know about the issues and the policy, get to know the candidates and what their vision for our fine town is. A few housekeeping items: you'll find washrooms over on your right. The fire exits are at the front and the right rear, front left. Please don't use this one because that will take you into the annals of the school and you may get lost. So just this one and that one. The first 2 hours from 7 to 9 will be the formal part of the evening. And the candidates will be asked a series of questions. Some questions have to do with the areas of fiscal management, accountability, and transparency. 3 of the issues which each candidate has responded to in a questionnaire. We have posted those questionnaires on our PHRA website, so if you haven't had a chance to check out our website, please do. Along with those questionnaires, we have some literature for each of the candidates, links to their websites, etc. So everything you need to know about who to vote for and how to vote, check out the PHRA website. I would also like to thank the public for their questions, some of which will be asked tonight. Due to time constraints, we were unable to accommodate all the questions from the public, but you will get an opportunity to meet with each of the candidates around 9 o'clock when the candidates will return to the various tables around the perimeter of the gym, and will be pleased to answer even more questions, I'm sure. You will find 2 items in your general vicinity. The first item is a pamphlet for the Port Hope Ratepayers Association. We ask you to consider joining our association to become better informed voters. And we have a table at the back for that purpose for those of you who would like to join. You also may see a card on your chair. They're being delivered to every household in Port Hope, which encourages you to get out the vote. We're sending out a challenge to the people of Coburg. We want to get a greater voter turnout this election than they have. They were about 48%. We were about 48, 49 in the last election. We're calling it the Port Hope Challenge 66. We want to get 66% of the Port Hope population out to vote on the 27th of October. So if you're here, you're interested, talk to your neighbors and friends and get them out to vote any way that they can. I'm just going to take a second then to introduce to you our moderator. His name is Bob Shaw. He's a member of the PHRA and is currently residing in Penryn Village. He's going to talk a little bit about the rules. I ask you to have respect for all the candidates, for the audience, and to please hold your applause till the final summation toward the end of the evening. You'll be allowed to applaud the candidate speeches toward the end. And Bob Shaw will now talk to you a little bit about the rules for the evening. Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Jim. We have standing room only tonight, so we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping because 2 of our candidates are not visible to the group up top and in by. So why don't we just move over as much as we possibly can. that okay? Excellent. Good evening and welcome to the Mayoralty All Candidates meeting hosted by the Port Hope Ratepayers Association. My name, as Jim said, is Bob Chatten. It's my privilege and pleasure to moderate this evening's event. This is a very important election for the municipality, and it is gratifying for all of us to see the huge turnout this evening and your interest in today's agenda. Our meeting will be fast-paced, informative, and very interesting as the candidates have the opportunity to share their positions, views, and objectives going forward with you. Our schedule for this event tonight will be 2 hours. We will conclude just shortly after 9 o'clock. We've scheduled a 5-minute break around 8 o'clock. And at the conclusion of the final statements and the end of the formal agenda for the evening, the candidates will be available for a 30-minute meet and greet, which will be a great opportunity for all of you to ask the candidates questions directly or follow up on some issues that may be top of mind for you to discuss. The rules and format: the candidates have selected their initial seating order by randomly picking a number out of the box prior to tonight. They are seated in the order they picked, which defines their initial speaking order and their space for the meet and greet portion of the meeting. And you'll notice their tables and their signage on your right side and at the back. The initial seating order will be the order of the candidates' opening statements. For the question and answer portion of the agenda, for each subsequent question, the starting position will move one candidate to the left. That's to ensure that the rotation is fair and equitable. So, for example, the opening statement will start with Bob Chatten and work left to right through the candidates. The first question then will be directed to Julie Mavis, again a rotation through, ending with Bob, and the second question to John, and so forth. Each question, there's 2 questions at the start and 2 questions at the end. Our time frame for that answer will be 1 minute. All the rest of the questions will be 30 seconds, and we have a great timekeeper involved in strictly enforcing the time. You'll notice that Bob will hold up a yellow sign. That's just the cue for the candidates that they have 15 seconds to finalize their answer. When you see the red placard, that's my cue to move the next to the next candidate. I want to first just introduce you to the candidates, and again, from my right, you have Robert Chatten, Julie Mavis, John Floyd, John Bickle, Jamie Castillo, Bob Sanderson, and Paul Andrus. Without further ado, we'll begin with the opening statements. Bob, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Bob said, my name is Robert Chatten. I've lived in this area since 1988. When we first moved here, we were looking for a house in town, and we decided to go into the country to Hope Township, and that's where we settled. Well, when we settled there, I became a firefighter in Hope Township Fire Department, and for the next 12 years I served there fighting fires. I was promoted to captain, and then I was promoted to district chief. Being the district chief, I was promoted, and I was also appointed by then the Hope Township Council and Ian Angus himself. I can't read that. Anyway, over the years, I've listened to the people, what their needs are, what they need, what they want. And that's why, again, this election I'm running because I ran in 2010 as well. And the reason I'm running is because, like I said, I listen to the people of the municipality. I know what they need, I know what assumption that I was always a long-haul truck driver. Well, that's not the case. Before I became a truck driver, I was into administration, management, budgeting, and so I have experience in that. And I will not sit here and make any promises that I will not keep. I will not do that. I volunteer for certain organizations, Salvation Army. We give financially to a lot of institutions. We've done that all our lives. And what I will promise the people is accountability, consistency, honesty, truthfulness, integrity, and most of all, respect and common sense to get this municipality back on its feet. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Julie Mavis, and I'm running for mayor of Port Hope. My vision for local government is smaller, smarter, faster, and cheaper. We need a council that will support that. I will lead the new council to conduct a total review of municipal spending, services, administration, and culture. This will happen when I am elected mayor. I strongly believe that the next mayor and council must exhibit an unfailing commitment to the everyday citizens who elect them. This commitment gets rid of unnecessary consultants, complicated bureaucracy, empty speeches. My voice will be your voice, and that means both wards. I know we can fix amalgamation, and at this time, it will be about what we want. This time, it will not be mandated by the Ontario government. I am totally opposed to NTEC-REM, always have been, always will be. As your mayor, I will propose a total ban on incineration of all solid waste materials in Port Hope. And for this, we will use an amendment to the official plan, our most powerful tool. This will make clear to the OLB that rejecting the REM project is policy and not discrimination. As for the PHAI, I am the only candidate with the background and the backbone to negotiate Port Hope's interests with confidence. All in all, I stand for a fresh start for Port Hope. I stand for local government that is smaller, smarter, faster, and cheaper. As your mayor, I promise you this. My voice will be your voice. I will be listening. On October 27th, vote Julie Mavis for mayor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here tonight. I want to thank you so very much for such a warm welcome that you've given me at your homes, your drive sheds, your barns, and your fields. I've listened very carefully to what you've had to say, and I must say you're very much on the same page. Ward 2 has not been treated fairly with that 40% tax increase. Unfortunately, it's a situation where they are being penalized for having great financial management under the leadership of Ian Angus for 8 years. It's not fair, and things will change. Ward 1 should have taken a very strong look at how Ward 2 was doing their finances so that we would not altogether be in the same position, and that's bad finances. Our finances have to be reviewed, they have to be corrected. There has to be a stop of the consultants. We have the world's smartest consultants right here in this room. They are people like yourselves right here. We didn't have to go to Bay Street to find someone that ran Port Hope. No, we have the people right here. We have to take a look at the job of the mayor. And the job of the mayor is to articulate important issues in our community. He is to lead, or she is to lead, to mentor the members of council, our community, and make our councillors the best of the best that they can be. That's what leadership is about. Fortunately, I've served our community for close to 25 years and held various political positions from councillor to county councillor and such as the Reef. I will say that we have to look outside of the box, say for the incinerator. If I was elected, I would call Roger Anderson and speak to him about taking our waste and shipping it 16 kilometers to Clarion to burn. We don't need an incinerator.
Thank you, John. John.
Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm John Bickle from Bob. The Bickles have been in and around the Port Hope area for generations. So it's my pleasure to be up here in front of you people asking for your support to run for your mayor. I'd like to tell you how I ended up in this position. I originally went in and filed to run for councillor for Ward 1. Ward 1 has problems that needed to be addressed and looked after more than Ward 2. I was denied the right to run in Ward 1 because I live in Ward 2, but yet you get a 2-inch stack of papers from the town when you file your nomination, which state that all you have to do is live in the community and you can run for any position. I guess that only counts if you live in Ward 1, not in Ward 2. As your mayor, I plan on doing a forensic audit to find out where our money is being spent, where it's gone, which department is spending it. That way we can get our books into professional order and carry on. If we don't get a hold of our spending now, in 5 years there will be no Port Hope. We will be bankrupt. We have to get onto it now. It's important that we get after the spending and our departments and put everybody in check so we know what's going on, so we can see where we're going and how we're going to balance our budget in the future and get through this mess we're in. I also will have a transparent town hall. If you're downtown shopping, by all means stop into the office, talk. We will sit and talk about the weather, and then sooner or later you will tell me what is really on your mind, and then we can try to solve it before it becomes anything bigger and we end up with 500 people in front of the council over a debate, sort of like Brimmer should have been stopped in Breakers tracks 2.5 years ago, not dragged on. So as your mayor, I plan on working for everybody equally. It doesn't matter if you live in Ward 1, Ward 2.
Thank you, John. Jamie, please.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much. I'm really surprised. I see a lot of people today. Last time we didn't see that many people. Was a little bit sad, but I'm happy now. My name is Manuel Castillo. I ran for mayor in Toronto 3 times. I really wanted to cooperate with the city. I was very upset when I moved here in Port Hope and realized that we are paying very high taxes, practically double that we pay in Toronto, because I still keep my house in Toronto. And I'm really come here to complain first that we are paying too much taxes and it's not fair that we don't have a better service in here. And I try to give you solutions to, and one of the solutions is that, like we have a small populations, we are not promoting the city because practically with the high taxes, the business people don't want to invest in here, they don't want to create any job in here. Practically what's going to happen is that, we're going to still end in the financial problem that we have right now, because if we don't have no business in here, it's not going to be no money, generation here. Like they're not going to really generate any money here. So really, we need to promote Port Hope to other cities, to really reduce the taxes so business can invest in here and can create more work. Of course, if we have more populations, we can have better services, we can have free swimming pool, we can have all the benefits that Toronto have because they have a largest population. So one of the best solutions here is, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Bob Sanderson.
Is this on? Good. Thanks for the ratepayers for having everybody out tonight. This is about you, it's not about us. I hope you're going to enjoy this. I am asking you to vote for me for your mayor. I feel compelled to actively work towards making Port Hope the community we all feel it should be. I will here tell you about my background and why I am well qualified for the job. I will mention what I consider to be the main issues we are confronting and how we should deal with them. And I will tell you of my vision of the Port Hope we think it should be. As a veterinarian, I am an animal lover and a caregiver. I value and understand the relationship between animals, with people, and with agriculture, a primary industry in our community. I have extensive corporate experience, having been the Canadian Veterinary Affairs Manager for the medical division of the Mars Company, the world's leading authority on pet care and nutrition. I went from that position in Canada to run the entire US division, and I was also on the global strategy team with 3 other people, traveling around the world and designing strategy. My community involvement has included restoration on my own initiative of the historically important 1834 house called the Little Bluestone on King Street, and that is now my local residence. I have 2 destination restaurants in town, Black Beans and Goosestone, and the Hotel the Waddell. We've built jobs downtown, up to 40 jobs, in a tough economy. We're doing okay. Thanks to many of you, by the way. I own other buildings in Port Hope and have a deep commitment to our town and to making sure our community is run well. I'm running for mayor because I do not feel our council administration have managed our community well, nor in the interest of the citizens, you guys. We have high taxes, high administration costs, and low performance. We are paying for poor financial decisions with money being spent on consultants, pillars, taglines, and studies. Our level of bureaucracy and the associated costs are driving potential investors away. It's time.
Thank you, Bob.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here. Poor leadership of the Municipality of Port Hope has resulted in a serious lack of trust among residents, financial debt, and threatens our unity. I'm seeking the office of mayor to bring effective, accountable leadership with a new council that works openly for you and with you. I'm a lifelong resident. I understand both wards, having lived in both rural and urban areas. I was a Hope Township councillor for 3 years, volunteer fireman for 18 years, and Fire Museum board director for 10 years, and I've participated in many committees and volunteer organizations. My work background includes production and management of large and small corporations. I've been a tool and die maker for over 20 years, and presently I'm a self-employed carpenter with several employees. If I'm elected, my list of priorities is to review municipal spending, to set priorities, find efficiencies, and spend whatever means. Address Ward 2 issues by restoring the trust fund and following the amalgamation agreement. Reduce the debt, increase our reserves, and ensure taxes are fair. Increase revenue, support local business, increase tourism, and aggressively market all industrial areas. Negotiate with the federal government to secure compensation for the people of Port Hope due to the destruction from the cleanup of low-level radioactive waste. Improve the property value protection plan. This should be a living agreement, a living document. It should be updated regularly. I oppose MPEC REM, but we must stay involved for future reviews and assessments. I support the new police station with present police needs, allowing for future expansion if required. I'll look into making it smaller and cheaper if possible. Fire department facilities are in the best location for response times and accessibility and should not be moved. For a change that works for you, I ask for your vote for mayor on October 22nd. Thank you.
We're going to start the question and answer portion of the agenda. We're going to start the first question to Julie Mavis. The first question and the second question will be 1 minute in duration for the answers, and the rest of the questions until the last two will be 30 seconds. The first question, Port Hope taxes are among the highest in the province. Our chair of finance has stated services have diminished, and we still have crumbling roads and sidewalks. How do we turn around the trend of getting less and paying more? Please be specific.
Smaller, smarter, faster, cheaper. That's how we turn it around. Under my leadership, all members of council will be responsible for the finances. They will all be on the financial committee. I will also create an independent financial review board of local experts. The finance director will report directly to council. He currently now reports to the CAO. We will do a full review of expense items, a full review of capital projects, and an exploration of any additional revenue streams, especially those from other levels of government, to take the pressure off property taxes. We have to find innovative revenue sources to offset taxes. As a municipal leader, we have to step up and fight for our community's future and prosperity. We have to edge away from the dependence on property taxes, and we have to get our share of the total tax dollar.
The taxes is a great question, and I've got some solutions for it. Just for one instance, we have the Jack Berger Sports Complex that's being redone. Why is it we're not having a solar roof installed on it, bringing in an additional $200,000 a year? Why is it not that we are not promoting with our MPP, such as I've been discussing, to bring Go Transit to our community, which will bring in more young families and have more people coming to this community, thus more building, creating more jobs and opportunities. Why is it we are not enhancing our downtown, bringing more programs, economic development things for fixing up our downtown? It's not been done well enough, and it shall be done and changed around. Why is it we're not lobbying the governor, the federal government, and the provincial government to have a university campus of nuclear excellence here in Port Hope? This community is the center of a higher education situation, brings in thousands of new jobs and opportunities. Thank you.
Our taxes have to be brought under control, but before we can bring our taxes under control, we have to control our spending. I don't know how many people have driven by where the new police station is going in, but it seems to me kind of funny. We're spending $6 million on a facelift on one building, and only $3.5 million on a building that has to meet provincial guidelines to be a police station. Figures don't add up to me. I want to know how much more that's going to cost once the building's up. I think we've only been told about the figures to build a building, not what it's going to cost to put in it. We've had the same thing going on King Street. There's been thousands of dollars wasted, and the construction company is bending over backwards trying to get the job done, but every day are having things change that they have to go back and redo. It's not working. It's costing taxpayers a pile of money, and in 3 years' time, that road will be so bad it'll have to be redone again.
I believe we have to review the taxes. I give an example before, like one of the keys, secrets, maybe you can say, in Toronto, is that Toronto is paying less taxes, like they really motivate a lot of businesses, and of course attract, business to invest in here. We're going to generate more work. People are going to move in here because they're looking for work, and that is going to be best for the city, to prosper. I just want to give you an example, like Cobo, our neighbor Cobo, have many business openings, and they have, their administration are pretty good because they really have a lot of business investing on the city. Port Hope don't have it. They have a high taxes. Long time ago, like 3 years ago, like Honda wanted to do a plant in Ontario and decided to move to Woodstock because Port Hope was so expensive to put the plant in.
Thank you, Jim.
My turn. I don't have to read my notes. It's pretty straightforward. Right? This is a corporation. It's the Municipality of Port Hope. And any corporation has stakeholders or shareholders. That's you. Right? You need to get value from the corporation. The corporation has a board of directors. Right? That's council with a chairman. That's the mayor. and they make all the people work for you to get value back. We're nonprofit. We have a lot of social responsibilities we have to look after, but you cannot control taxes if you do not control expenditures. Our expenditures of administration are way, way too big. We're spending way, way too much money on so many things that nobody wants. You know, we need to start running the community for ourselves and stop the tail from wagging the dog. I have no interest, and I'll tell you straight up, of being a small, cheap community. I'm not a shrinking violet. You're going to get moving. We're going to all pitch in, you know, and in the end, when we attract new business, it's going to be because we're running our business well. Thank you.
I think before we try to increase revenue, we should stop wasting revenue. We seem to spend a lot of time wasting money on things that we don't need. Sweeping all the roads in the rural municipality makes absolutely no sense. And going out and buying, the town goes out and buys, expropriates land for a new industrial park when they've got an industrial park already sitting on Cross Street that's only half used. And they've got all the land at Westerville that could be used anytime. And it's already serviced, it's serviced by its own road, it has its own interchange, it even had a rail line at one time. So I kind of agree with everybody else in the sense that we need to get our house in order before we try to increase revenue, but we should increase revenue by trying to increase tourism, and we could have more festivals. We could have a salmon festival. We could have a giant crazy cook in 401 if we want, but we need to get more people in here and more business to offset the residential taxes.
The next question will also be a 1 minute answer duration. We'll start with, oh, I'm sorry, Bob.
I know I'm short, but it's good. My answer to that question is that we should have an immediate tax raise for 2015. When we moved here in '88, all I heard was they don't want change, they don't want industry, they don't want commercial to come in. That's all I heard. Well, now that is gone, because we do need small commercial, we need small industry in here to help defer the taxes. And the only way we're going to get them to even to get steady is, I agree with everybody else, we have to stop the waste, stop the overspending, start from scratch. Just start over again. That's all I've got to say on that.
Thank you, Bob. The next question will be a 1 minute duration answer as well. The budget process provides for senior staff to base next year's operating budget on this year's, plus whatever they feel incrementally they need to maintain the same service. The operating budget will essentially be complete by the time you take office. How will you take control of the process, and how will you direct the building of budgets in future years? John.
Thank you. The budget process, due to the fact that I do have a lot of experience, not only at the municipal level, I have it at the county level. In higher levels, such as the county, they have a different process. Our budget process is not working properly. In fact, it's broken. And when you try to find out some of the figures, the financial figures, such as Ward 2 wants to find out about where the interest is on the $10 million, they can't even find that money. So what has to be done is that the whole system has to be revamped to work for us. It's our money, it will be directed by us, and it will be used in a more appropriate fashion. We have to be given the proper figures. In fact, what I would propose is that there would be a formulation of an outside committee to help review the finances and set up a system that works for us and makes things better, so we have a figure on the money at all time. Thank you.
I also have experience on the budget committee. I sat on the former Hope Township budget committee. We had a process where we brought in all the heads of departments, all the heads, any working groups we had going, and had them sit down, tell us what they wanted, go through their dream wishes, what they wanted, and how they were going to go about spending their money. Then we sat down and looked at what they'd come forward with, and we started to pick away at it. Then we would call them back in, sit down with the heads of the departments, and go through the budgets again. We were able to keep our taxes at a held rate and lowered every year for several years. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication through the people of the township who worked hard to build the township and realized it was their tax dollars in the end. So they did work to get 10% cuts on their budgets across the board.
I considered to make a committee, like an outside committee, and ask all the members from the community, like for example, the association that really care about our city, that to be open to practically help us do an open budget, like nothing has to be hide, everything has to be transparent. So in that way, you know what's really going, what's happening with the money that the city have. That's the way, Toronto is working. They're working with the community, and they really do, more transparent. And then in that way, everybody is going to participate on our budget.
That's really two questions. The first one, we're going to inherit a budget that we didn't do. We don't have to accept it. I'm not going to accept it. I'm going to go in and tear it apart, layer by layer, find out where we can get the savings, and we're going to reset it, like you would do in any company. There's a lot of savings right in administration. I think we have a lot of money going out the door. The second thing you do, is you start to look forward to what the community needs are, and you work back to what they are, and you take the finances that we have and you see where they can be married. During that entire process, right from day one, the administration should not be solely involved. The community needs to be, and I would propose that we have 2 or 3 really talented people in town on a volunteer basis, participate in the process to set the budget right from the get-go until it comes out the other end. So we'd have administration, council involvement, and public involvement with a financial requirement at the end that is suitable to the community and the community needs. From that purpose, we can stand up in front of everybody and honestly say we didn't vote on the budget, we actually created it, and it had community involvement from day one.
Once a new council takes over, they need to review all municipal spending, and they have to set priorities, and they have to decide what they can afford to keep and what they can't afford to keep. And there has to be cuts to each department, whether they like it or not. There's a lot of money that's wasted now that has to be reviewed. Each municipal department is going to have to be reviewed individually and see what they can live with and what their absolute basics are that they need, and start from there and work back.
What I would like to start off with is, I'm going to agree with John Bickle here, is each department head, I'm going to start off with a zero budget. Each department head has to set out and come in with their budgets for that particular year. And as John said, you just pick through it and everything else. And I also agree with Mr. Floyd. Instead of bringing in somebody to do it, we have enough talented people in this municipality to help us with our financial and our budgets. Thank you.
We spend too much, we owe too much, and we pay too much. If the budgets are already set, they'll get unset. It's the new council's direction. We will not spend the money that we've been spending before, and every single department and council has to understand that. Everyone has to take their turn and make their effort to reduce the spending. There is no money. It will be hard work. It won't be easy, but we will get there. We will fix it.
The next group of questions will be 30 seconds in duration. The 2014 budget incorporated a 6.7% spending increase with 2 new staff positions. What is your position related to the current staffing numbers, and what changes do you want to see in the first year of your term?
My first year, I plan on looking at what we spent, where we spent, how it's been spent, and drawing the line. The first year, I'm not going to say I'm going to cut taxes by 10% until after my forensic audit is done, so I can see what we have to work with. Then we'll know which direction we can go, plan out our attack, and hopefully come out of this on top without too much ill fate to most people and disrupting too much.
I believe we should plan, I really, know that if we do a proper plan, everything is going to be better. I just admire some of the good planning that, for example, they do in the United States, for example, when they do plans highways 10, 15 years from now, and then little by little, the population is growing. They're really just don't make any congestion in construction, and they keep going.
The 2014 budget incorporated a 6.7% spending increase with 2 new staff positions. What is your position related to the current staffing numbers, and what changes do you want to see in the first year of your term?
First and foremost, 6.7% is absolutely unacceptable. There's nobody in this room who wants that level. We've already got too many staff. I don't know what the positions are going to be and how much they're going to be paid. I think it's a total review process, independently looked at financially, get it back down to where it is, and put a stop on all that stuff until we know what's going on in our community. We don't know. We can't find the answers. So, the same answer. Let's get back, reduce the prices, and see what we have to do to deal with it.
I agree with Bob. 6.5% increase is ludicrous, and I have no idea how they thought that would be reasonable. But I'd love to understand the budget. I don't think even town staff can understand the budget, and I think I need to be able to understand the budget. Council needs to be able to understand the budget, and then we have to review staff based on that.
I'm going to stand up this time, really. You see me better, anyway. Anyway, I agree with Bob and I agree with Paul. I mean, staff has to be reduced. There's no question about that. And 6.7%, that is just ridiculous. It's not even, it shouldn't even be about 2%. So with that in mind, we have to reduce the staff. We have to go from there. Like everybody knows up here, we're not going to be able to really do anything until we're elected and we actually get into office and find out what the numbers are. Thank you.
For the last 4 years, our revenues have gone down and our expenses have gone up. Expenses aren't necessarily just hiring more people. There's a lot of reasons those expenses are up. Debt repayment, for example. We have been borrowing cash to pay for our debt. Every department has to make the effort to reduce expenses. It doesn't automatically mean it's staff, but in some cases it will be. We cannot continue with the increases that we have.
Firstly, I'm not going to wait around a year. I'm going to get going right away within the first 30 days. If elected, I will be your county representative. I will be sitting down with our other constituent municipalities and start working on a plan that we can set up service boards. We have the largest number of bureaucrats anywhere in this province, and that's going to be changed. We are being taken too much advantage for. We can do staffing trims. We can be consolidating all types of different businesses under different roofs and cut the costs immediately.
What leadership qualities and experience do you possess that make you think you will be the best choice for mayor? Jamie.
Well, I believe that we need like to really participate with the community, to be, to work with them, like to be more transparent. Like if I, let the community participate, then it's, we're gonna have a better administration.
Hi again. Leadership qualities are really critical. I'm not running for mayor to mitigate this mess that we've got. I'm going to go in and solve it. I know I can do it. I've done it in other areas. I've had national experience on large corporations. I've built sales and marketing teams. I've got some nice businesses downtown that let me come up here and work for you because the leadership down there says they've got my back. That's what we're doing. Right? Leadership is absolutely paramount. Without leadership, nothing's going to happen. Leadership is qualifications. I've given you many of them already. National, international, local.
I listed my leadership qualities in my opening speech, but I think the one quality that I really have that's paramount is common sense. And I think that's one thing that we really lack. I can deal with other people. I've dealt with organizations. I've dealt with large groups and small groups. I've been a supervisor for large groups. And I have 2 or 3 employees now, and they stay for a long time because I'm easy to get along with and I can understand all walks of life.
Yeah, my leadership qualities are, like I said, my opening statement, through administration, management, working with unions and all that, and being on the fire department and being elected district chief, if you want to put it that way, to be a leader of the firefighters, which is a job in itself. I mean, there's only 16 of us there, but still, you get in the fire scene and if you don't know what's going on, you better be making quick decisions. So they're my leadership qualities.
I have run multi-million-dollar corporations, about the $25 million range, about the same size as Port Hope. I've managed teams of 150 and 250 people, both union and non-union. I'm known as a collaborator and a facilitator. I have the leadership skills and the experience to make the changes that need to happen in Port Hope. Thank you.
Firstly, I'm retired. I can do the job full time. Secondly, I have no business interests, so I can dedicate all my time to your needs and concerns and lead our municipality. My experience is second to none. I was a councillor, police service board, REEF. I have written a resolution. I've been on negotiating committees for the low-level radioactive waste, thus bringing our municipality $20 million. Well, I'm going to tell you, when something happens with the low-level radioactive waste, I'll be there to watch your back.
I will work as hard for you people as what I would. How about now? Okay. As your mayor, I will work hard for all of you. I am like most people that live in this community. I am a working man. I leave home at shortly after 5 every morning and return home most nights after 7. So I know what it's like to work hard, to try to make ends meet and survive. And I would like to see this town survive, and as your mayor, I will work hard for every single one of you.
What are your plans with respect to NTEC RIM and future incinerator proposals?
First and foremost, it's an unacceptable business for our town. I am the only councillor who is being involved with that from day one. Everybody else is on the bandwagon, and I can tell you assuredly that we oppose that from the get-go. We will not accept it. We will not go to the OMB unprepared. We have options at the OMB. Our staff has not done a good job there. It should not be 4 years down the pipes that we're dealing with this. So full stop to that. And I don't want to burn any garbage anywhere, even if it's 16 kilometers up the road.
MTech grant never should have gotten to this point in the first place. If council had supported local citizens as it should have from the start, then it would have been washed from the start. I think that they need a contingency plan for after they go to the OMB, and they also need to have a contingency plan for when they have the review for an environmental assessment.
Yeah, I'm strictly against NTEC too. When this all started, I mean, was it 4 years, 5 years, or something like that? There was miscommunication between NTEC and staff to council. It was just a complete mess. I'm against it, and like Bob said, 16 kilometers down the road, make arrangements for them. Thank you.
I didn't say that.
I'm totally opposed to NTEC grant and any industry like it. Don't believe what other people say. I have written to our MPP to enlist provincial support for Port Hope's decision not to allow NTEC grant to come into our community. And I will propose a total ban on the incineration of all solid waste materials in Port Hope through an amendment to the official plan. It helps to have a mayor who knows how to deal with the Ontario government.
I have written letters to the editor with regards to my position against it. I have spoken at many public events that we've had. Also, just to point out, and as just Bob said about not burning it down the road, Northumberland County is facing a garbage crisis. Right now, we don't have an end in sight. There is $250 million incinerator that's built, that's been approved. Why would we not take advantage of something that we can possibly use to help solve our garbage situation? You don't want to see your bags go up to $5. Thank you.
One thing I have discovered by knocking on doors is there are almost as many people who want some sort of incineration. There seems to be quite a few people who say they would be for RIM. There are presently 3 glassification plants running in British Columbia, not built by RIM, but by a Swedish firm. They've been building them in Europe for years, and they seem to work. I've been told by different people knocking on doors, that they're all for some sort of energy from waste, that we should be looking into it. Our landfill sites are going to be filled up before we know it, and we'll be stuck.
I believe like there are many European countries that not only incinerate, but they generate electricity. So it doesn't affect, the health of the people in Europe. If we really bring some kind of technology here, I agree with that. But if we're going to have a very bad technology that is going to affect our health, I'm going to be opposed on that for sure. Thank you.
What waste management strategy do you propose, Paul?
When we were in Oak Township, we set up our own recycling program, and we recycled everything before the county took it over. And I think we should start taking all the glass again, pressing them in the road beds, and at least start our own composting program at Victoria Street site.
I think we're all going to be about the same answer here. I agree totally with Paul that we have to start composting and getting into away from the waste, recycling more than what we're doing. That is the only way that we're going to actually start to control the waste that we do have.
Zero waste management is the way of the future. Markham is an outstanding example of that. They've done a wonderful job in zero waste management. Following in their footsteps, we should start with our corporations and encouraging them to have a zero waste management program, and then move on to the schools, and then on to the recreation facilities. Then we can start looking at public homes. Thank you very much.
Well, this is certainly where experience comes to test. As former chairman of waste management for the county of Northumberland, being involved in the development of the resource recovery facility, what we need to do is put in a 3-stream system. Our landfills are filling up. I've heard nothing what someone's going to do for an option, but what we have to do is we do have to work with our neighbors with approved situations with incineration. I wouldn't cast it away. What are we going to do when the landfill's full and we have nowhere for the garbage? You know something? We have to look at all options, keep our ears and eyes open, because as one would say, we cannot afford to pay $5 a bag. That's just another tax. Thank you.
I work in the construction field. I've spent a lot of time in the Brighton and Seymour landfill sites. I think most people would be appalled to see the number of bales that arrive at the landfill site from the MRF on a weekly basis. They use them to build roadways, hold back and use them for retaining walls. You would sometimes wonder if anything in the MRF is actually being sold after it's recycled or just baled and sent to the landfills.
Recycle is a good business in Toronto, and I think that generates a lot of revenue. Like there is an industry that make from recycled homes, like Royal Home, for example. I've been working in construction for 24 years, and I am a member of a non-for-profit organization that is called Canada Ecotourism Organizations, and we have a plan in there. Thank you.
It's our garbage. We don't need to put it in anybody else's backyard. We can manage it. It is all about recycling. California in 2020 expects to do 100% recycling. Technology is continually changing and government regulations are changing. We'll continue to push the provincial government and the federal government to get packaging under control. We will recycle, put some investment in it, and we will not send our garbage elsewhere. So we can manage our own community problems.
I've just been prompted. It's close to 8 o'clock, or maybe slightly after, so we've scheduled a 5-minute break at this point. So we'll just reconvene in 5 minutes. Thanks.
Just one other change that you'll notice. We've asked the candidates to please remain seated when they are answering the questions, just to try and move things along so we can get as many questions in as we would like. So I'll just pass the mic quickly over to Bob. He's going to try and enforce that red sign as much as possible with the candidates, so they can remain seated and the audience can remain seated. Then we'll all be able to hear better and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Port Hope residents pay a significant amount of money to the county. Over the past few years, there seems to be duplication of some tourism and economic services at the county level. In fact, they spend $1.6 million in this area. How do you make sure we just pay once for this service? Bob?
That's a good question, Bob. Very good question. I actually will tell you the truth, I don't have an answer for that.
Reducing duplication is a very important part of running the municipality. There is a lot of duplication, not only within the municipality, but also within the county, between county and municipality. Tourism and economic development for both county and the municipality must work closer together so that we are paying only once. We all are on the same team. Duplication has to stop.
Just as I mentioned earlier, in the first 30 days of going back to County Council, I will sit down with the other representatives and we will start working immediately on bringing these different departments together. We have 6 tourism departments in West Northumberland. We've got 6 economic development offices in West Northumberland. That's way too much. There's billions of dollars in savings. And I'm going to go and get that money and stop that spending and keep that money in your pockets where it belongs.
The duplication isn't necessarily a bad thing. In Ward 2, there are 746 homes that are on county roads who get all their services from the county, not from the municipality of Port Hope. So in some cases, the duplication may cover other people who are not on the mainstream in the Ward 1. Like I say, there are almost 800 homes that are serviced by the county.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I believe, well, I think the best is to really think immediately and try to review and try to fix that as soon as possible, because that's why we are paying so much on taxes, and we have to eliminate all that. We have to start from the beginning, no within 30 days.
It's going to be hard to stop duplication. We're one of a group when it comes to the county. I think our first priority has to be here at home, cleaning things up here and spending our money appropriately. And then it's going to take the other 7 members of the county to sit together and try to make an efficient team out of that. Some of the duplication is going to be normal, whether it be tourism or not, because the county view is going to be slightly different than ours. Our focus is us first.
I think the county should work like we want to work, and we should all work as a team. And I think that we shouldn't be duplicating services at the county. And yes, we're probably paying too much for it, but the issue of county roads. We have municipal trucks plowing all our roads, and they drive the county roads every day to get there. And so why couldn't our trucks plow the county roads at the same time?
How would you provide the necessary leadership to question the large portion of taxes going to the county? And what are your ideas specifically for reducing costs at the county level? Julie.
We're a 2-tier government. There's an upper tier and a lower tier. I'm sure most of you know that. The municipality has specific responsibilities. The county has other responsibilities, primarily the social services. As municipal leaders, it is our job to direct the county. It is the mayor who is the member of county council, and it's up to the mayor to determine the direction of county, just as it is up to the mayor to determine the
Thank you,
direction
Julie.
of this municipality.
John, please.
23% of the Port Hope budget goes to the county. What needs to be done is that we have to have a strong representative at the county who knows how the county works, so Port Hope starts getting its fair share, which we have not. As I spoke earlier, with experience and knowing your way around the county, there's all kinds of savings that we can do by working with the other municipalities on both tiers. There's no excuse for the waste of tax dollars there too. Thank you.
As a mayor representing you at the county level, I will work on getting the rest of the mayors in the county together. We are partially put where we are through downloading from the provincial government. Maybe it's about time we started throwing things back at the provincial government so that we don't have to keep paying all the time. Let them start paying for some of the things that they have covered in prior years and over the years, and they keep downloading to us so that they can have bigger pensions and higher raises.
Thank you.
I believe we should meet or, try to review that and fix it because everything has to be in proportional. If we are member of the county, we deserve to pay only our share only, and no more, not even less, our proper share.
The efficiency start at home. The model that we should be having means we are the chairman of the board, and we're going to go to another board. That board has to work together. If we set our model here in Port Hope and it's efficient, then we take that same model to the other communities. The county is not an entity that's beyond us. We are the county. We're part of it. So if we can get our house in order, work with the other members of the county, get that in order, then we're done. We will have that agenda set.
We want Port Hope to be more efficient, and we should expect the county to be more efficient as well. But having said that, we need to sit down and work out a better sharing of services with the counties. It doesn't make any sense to send a truck from Coburg to do Osaka Road or do the boundary roads when our municipal trucks are already there.
Municipal financial information is hard to find and harder to understand. Formats have changed from year to year. There is insufficient information on trends. How will you fix this, John? Municipal financial information is hard to find and harder to understand. Formats have changed from year to year. There is insufficient information on trends. How will you fix this?
It's totally unacceptable. As I said earlier, our finance system has to be revamped. I know one of our auditors that we had, who was on a volunteer committee, didn't understand what was going on. He was a CA. That's not acceptable. It will be corrected, and it will be corrected fast, because we have to know where we are, and we can't afford the waste of money that's going out the door. And actually, I heard about some employees getting a 20% pay raise when the former CEO got back. Not acceptable.
Yes, it seems to be that lately they've like to hire people in the town hall and give them titles as directors, to be a director over 2 people. Beyond me why somebody needs a title to be a director over 2 people. It's mainly so they can be up in that next pay raise category. It's one thing that has to be looked at as well across the board, what we are paying in salaries, and maybe every person should be reevaluated and reapplied for their jobs. And
thanks, John. Jamie, please.
I believe we should evaluate, the employees, and we should provide the service. That is the most important, because, if we have a good service, everybody's going to be, satisfied with the service. But we really need to review the people who are employed there and try to fix the problem from the bottom side.
I think as I've said before, we need to go down and strip this budget down with independent evaluation to find out where all the money is. Nobody can seem to find it, nobody can justify it. A lot of it is being spent inappropriately, and our 40% over the benchmark for other communities is absolutely unacceptable. We have too many people doing too little, getting paid too much, and that has to stop.
I don't think even town staff can understand the budget or financials. I know I certainly can't. And I think the very first thing council's got to do, the new council has to do, is they have to be able to understand it. They have to have a full understanding of the financials, and it has to be explained in great detail.
There is information out there, you just have to know where to find it. There's been a benchmarking study for the last 5 years that is done between 86 municipalities across Ontario. 28 are about our size. In 2012, Port Hope was part of that study, and it didn't score well. But the communities that have stayed with it, the ones that have been with them and continue to send in their financials and review themselves against other communities, have done better and better each year. That's what we have to do.
Thank you, Julie. What are your ideas for the business park? What are your ideas for the business park?
To start with, we have a business park in the, I guess you could say, the center of the municipality that has no access to the 401. That's not a very good start for a business park. We have hundreds of acres in Westingville area that's not utilized. We have acres along Croft Street that aren't utilized. We need to attract more business by maybe putting out some incentives to bring them to town.
I believe reducing the taxes will implement the business part better. I was giving you an example before. If we have a higher taxes, nobody is going to invest in here. And we really need to reduce the taxes as soon as possible. So that way we can attract more business in here. And also we can attract more people to live in here. And of course, they're going to pay taxes like us, but we're going to have more benefits.
Thank you, Jamie.
One of those bad decisions we're stuck with. As a veterinarian, we could at least use it for a dog park for a bit, until we get somebody here. I also think we can get a nice sign up there that says next exit, historic downtown Port Hope, circa 1834, dining, shopping, accommodation. We can put some use to it, right? It's a bad decision, we're stuck with it, but until we get our house in order, nobody's coming. Let's get our house in order.
Which one? There's like 3 business parks. They should have filled the one on Cross Street first, but they didn't. So they bought this one, and there's nobody coming here either. And we need to advertise it and try to get somebody in here. But we've got the 401 runs all the way through the municipality. We need to advertise locally, and we need signage on the 401 for a start. And we need to get people into Westville as well.
There is one investor who is already intending to move into the park. His vision is one of healthcare and healing for Olympic athletes. We should be actively seeking other like-minded businesses to invest in the park and cluster those kind of businesses. Keep in mind, we have to build our economic development on the backs of small business. We're not looking for huge industry. And we have to think sustainable. We need to landscape to create a neighborhood within that business park.
Thank you, Julie.
Firstly, I was against that industrial park, business park, whatever it wants to be called. It was a bad decision. It was 40 years too late. I was in manufacturing for over 30 years, and it's not the field of dreams. You build it, they will come. Well, my friends, there's nobody to come. What we need to do is cut our losses quickly get it rezoned for housing, and sell it off, turn a page in the past, and chart a new course.
Just regret to say that Bob Chatten has taken ill, so he will be unable to finish the evening, but he says that he's going to be all right. So that's the reason he's no longer with us right now.
How do you build a sense of community in all of Port Hope? Jamie?
What's the question? Well, I worked in construction for 24 years, and we really, when we build houses, everything is done, we are encroachment by the municipalities and utilities, but I think we can start building sustainable housing in here. That's the best way to cut, the prices.
Thank you, Jamie.
Communities are people. You bring people together, you start listening to them, you start getting people involved. You don't put them on committees and put all the information that they worked on a shelf and don't pay attention to it. You start pulling together, realizing that the community is broad, it has challenged people here, we have homeless people here, we have people who are well off. The bottom line is we got to work together. We got to listen to each other, and we have to sit down and solve our own problems.
You have to be open, transparent, and inclusive. And if you have anything like say the waterfront development, you make sure that everybody's included from the get-go, and you don't form a group and come up with a plan and then present it to the public. And I think we've got Ward 1 and Ward 2 issues. We need to treat Ward 2 like equals. We need to be as fair in Ward 1 as we are in Ward 2 as we are in Ward 1, and I think that'll go a long ways towards solving those issues.
We need one Port Hope. We need respect, and everyone needs equal representation. Whether you live in Parrytown or Penryn Village, whether you're new to the community or whether you've lived here for generations, you need better representation. I am prepared to restructure the ward system so that each and every resident has the best possible representation at council.
If elected as your mayor, I will immediately rebuild the relationship between Ward 1 and 2. It would be built on honesty and trust and mutual care. What's gone on is not acceptable. Town Hall divided and conquered by friends. Ward 1, we have the same problems as Ward 2. It's our taxes. We fix the finances, and let's bring us back to happy Port Hope, the Port Hope that we all remember from years gone by. Thank you.
I think first of all, we have to get the transparency and the trust back in Town Hall. People don't trust what's going on in Town Hall. You're not going to have a happy community. If you don't have a happy community, you don't have people stop talking in the streets and people greeting each other. Neighbors don't talk to each other. It divides the whole community. We have to start with the Town Hall, and it will spread throughout the whole municipality from there.
Does Port Hope do enough for its most vulnerable residents?
Absolutely not.
I have to agree with Bob. They don't, and I use Habitat for Humanity for an example. It's a great cause, and they do great work, but they only help one family. And we can take the same resources and help a lot more people than just one family.
When we talk about vulnerable residents, I think we're talking about our local poor. I think that's what we're talking about. Public awareness is very important when it comes to this real problem, and this problem that is growing within our community. Port Hope, homeless don't necessarily sleep on the street. They sleep on a buddy's couch. We don't always know that they're poor. Public awareness is what's important, and municipal leadership at the county level is what will help us.
No, we're not, definitely not. I want to applaud David Sheffield here tonight of the Greenwood Coalition. He's been doing a wonderful job on having the dinners on Wednesday nights. The work. He's a great guy, isn't he? We can do more. It needs to come from the county level, also municipal level. We have great people in our community to put in a helping hand, and I applaud them too. We have a great bunch of citizens in our community, and you know something? We can do a little bit better and make our community that much better. Thank you.
Absolutely not. There are people every day who fall into hard times, not necessarily because they want to. Companies close, people lose their jobs, people have serious health problems that are unexpected, they don't plan on. So it's a real tough thing to do and to try to cure, but if everybody did a little bit and we all work towards the same goal, we can make a lot of changes.
Jamie?
Yeah, I think I agree with all the candidates that know, but we have to create work for them. Like as a municipality, we have to create work for those people that need. And also work with the county because, you know, the social services, maybe they don't get the, you know, the help that they need, so we have to work with them too. Thank you.
Port Hope Council has set out a number of operating principles, including transparency. What are your ideas for improvement in this area? Paul?
Throw everything out they've got and start over, and be transparent this time.
Open door, open mind, open ears, and open meetings. That's transparency. Streaming all public meetings. Inviting the ombudsman to come to our community. Getting public input at an earlier stage. Increased polling and increased surveys. Being accountable to the public. That's transparency.
As your mayor, what I will do, it will be an open door policy, as it always has been in the past when I was the Reeve of Port Hope and also a councillor on the police service board. We need the trust of the people. You know, we pick up a newspaper and we're reading about secret meetings with Graham and the staff. Not acceptable. Hey, you want to do that? Go work somewhere else.
In the past, when press has covered what council meetings have said, it's not always exactly printed what was said in council meetings. They tend to sell papers, so they tend to stretch the truth and add lines. So we need to be more open and transparent in the town hall and make it so our minutes of all meetings are available to everybody in the public as the minutes were at the meetings, not
Thank you,
documented.
John. Jamie?
I believe I will open the doors and I will allow to make more committees, all the associations from the community should participate on that, and we all should agree what is the best for the city. So be more transparent. That means everybody can see what we're doing in the city. Thank you.
The Port Hope
Would you like me to
website.
answer that?
Oh, I'm sorry.
My last answer was a bit short, so you cut me off. Transparency is to be able to see, and everybody talks about it. It's got to have some legs to it and some action. Everything should be on our website. You know, all the minutes, all the requirements that are there for you to go in and get the information you want. We have to remove all those bureaucratic barriers and the fees associated with getting a piece of paper, and we have to change the attitude down there so people aren't feeling protected. They're really happy to give you the information because it's damn good information.
The Port Hope website has a lot of information, but it is difficult to use. How would you correct it? And can you comment on this based on your use of the website? Julie?
Does everybody know what I do for a living? The Port Hope website does have a lot of information on it. It's really not that bad from a user-friendly perspective if you're used to using websites. But if you're trying to dig and to drill down, there are too many tabs, there's too many labels, there's too far to go. It does need to be simpler from a user-friendly perspective. It needs to be faster, it needs to upload faster. And sometimes I find that you can often end up with missing links. It needs additional maintenance.
What I see on the website, I go on there quite regularly to see what's going on in the town, in the town hall. It does need to be simplified. It is very complex, and there's a lot of senior citizens in our community that need to get information. It's hard to find the information. Simplification is the easiest way. In fact, simplification of our municipal government is the best way to go too.
As stated before, I'm a construction worker. I grew up a farm boy. I will be the first one to admit I am critically computer illiterate. I do play a little bit around on the computer when I have time, but I don't have that much time that I sit in the house. I'm either doing something outside or I'm doing something for somebody else instead of sitting in front of a screen. But I think it would be great if it was easy for me to use.
Jamie, please.
I believe if we eliminate the pictures and we just put the information, it's going to be loaded really fast because as many pictures the website have, it's going to be hard to load it and download whatever information we need. So I believe we need a good web designer to fix that. Thank you.
The web should serve a couple of purposes. It's got to give information. The first information should not be about our nuclear waste and all the problems we're having. It should be promoting the community and be positive. I really think we could use a webcam as an example when the fish are running, so people around the world can see what great things are happening here. So I think we can update that site, make it more functional, get more promotion out of it, and make sure that it is a conduit for information.
I've been on the website quite a bit since I started running for mayor and before that. And there is a lot of information and it does take a while to get through it. I think it'd be a lot nicer if it was modeled on smartphones. I mean, it's less information, but you get it a lot quicker. And I think we could take some of that information and put it on separate pages or separate sites, and then we could also add minutes from meetings or updated stuff as well.
Is Port Hope a retirement town, a tourist town, or is there potential for something new? John?
It's all of above. This is a great place to live, work, bring up your families. We live in one of the greatest communities that I've ever seen. And if there wasn't, I wouldn't live here. But what we have to do is build on our strengths. We need to enhance our downtown even more, to keep it top-notch, to be on the top list of the go-to places, and it's a retirement thing. That's why I've been promoting building a new Ruth Clark Center for the many seniors and the more seniors that are going to come to our community.
The question is Port Hope a retirement town, a tourist town, or is there potential for something else?
It could be a tourist town, it could be an industrial town, it could be many things. We have to work hard to convince people to come to our town. We have a river running through our town, which could attract thousands of people a year with our fish running up and down the river and our fishing. We can create a spring fishing derby, fall fishing derby, which can attract hundreds, if not thousands of people to the community, which in turn, hopefully, will spend money in our restaurants and our shops.
Thanks, John.
I believe we have to combine the modern with the, the antique. Port Hope is like very nice because it's, it keeps the antique, and that's why it's the most tourist attraction in Port Hope. But if we visit Montreal, like they have the old city and the new city, we have to make it open to modern life in here too, because people wanted to live in here.
Thanks, Jay. First and foremost, Port Hope is a community. Looking around this room, I would have to say we're tending towards the retirement side. But there's unrealized potential in the tourism, and we're neglecting to talk about the requirements of the young people in town. We do need to have job creation. They do need to be looked after from a tax perspective. The costs here have to be reasonable. So we are all of them. Without question, I think we need to focus on some other areas. Tourism, absolutely unrealized.
Port Hope's all of the above, and Port Hope's only limited by the imagination of the people. And if we include as many people as possible and as many ideas as possible, then we can make Port Hope as great as we want it to be. I grew up in Port Hope, and I remember going to the beach as a kid, and I'd love to see that again. But again, it's all we have to do is have the drive and the support of council to do it.
Port Hope is a great retirement community, and it's also a great tourism community, but it's also a creative community, one that is attracting young families. Think about it. We have affordable housing, we have great neighborhoods, we've got wonderful schools, shorter commutes, we've got everything to attract young families. The same facilities that keep our vibrant seniors here is the same things that will bring young families here.
Should Port Hope video all of the public council meetings for broadcast over the internet? And if so, why? John.
Which one? Okay.
Should Port Hope video all the public council meetings? And if so,
Yes, I think if all the meetings were videotaped, then you have an actual accounting that you go back to reference down the road if something come up that was discussed earlier. It would be a way for people to come back on council and say, this is what you said, now you're flip-flopping. If it's video, we can't deny the fact. Can't hide it.
Yes, absolutely, it should be video, because in that way everybody can even repeat what happens, but it's, it's not video, it's just writing. Sometimes you don't write everything, but in the video you can see almost everything that it happens on the meetings. Thank you.
Absolutely, I would video it for all the right reasons. One of the problems is that Cocheco is not available in Ward 2, so half of our citizens aren't seeing what's going on, and if they want to go to council, they have to go down and see it. So both from a record keeping, visibility, availability of all the information, to all the population of the community, it should be online, no question.
I agree, it should be video, it should be videotaped, it becomes more transparent, and transparency seems to breed honesty. And I also, the only thing I'd like to know is who's going to pay for it. because we're talking about cutting costs, and if we're gonna videotape it and do paper records, then there's gonna be an increased cost, and I want to cut costs, not increase them.
The question was about whether or not we should be streaming over the internet. And absolutely, to reiterate what I said on transparency, we should be streaming all public meetings. They will be going to be over the internet, not through protocol. We need an open door, we need an open mind, and we need open meetings.
I think that would be absolutely great. I recall when I was on council before with Ron Smith as the mayor, myself as the reeve, Phil Clayton as deputy reeve. We had a great time. Do you know something? We had the greatest council meetings, as they would say, that was the greatest show on earth. If you wanted to come down for fun and entertainment, that was the place to go to. And it was. I know a lot of you folks were there. Remember seeing it. And you know something? Let's do it, and there should be nothing to hide.
This is our last question. This will be a 1-minute duration. Are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? And if you're elected mayor, how will we be better off in 2018? We're going to start with Jamie.
Can you repeat the question?
Are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? And if you are elected mayor, how will we be better off in 2018?
Well, like as I told you before, I always like to plan ahead. I work like I have an emergency plan. I do have a medium plan and a long-term plan. So, you know, like whatever I wanted to do, I plan it ahead. I just don't, you know, like do it, you know, like, oh, what do you mean, like, try to do it without no plans. So definitely, you know, planning is important, and that's what we're supposed to do, you know, in our city. Plan ahead, and then everything is going to be, you know, better off. Thank you.
No, we're not better off, but if we were better off, I wouldn't be up here talking to you right now, that's for sure. Right? We'd be doing something else. We're so far off in so many areas, whether it be from communication, the tail wagging the dog, our administration is telling us how to run our community, we're not being listened to, so no, we're not better off, financially or, you know, from a community perspective. What do? You elect new people who will do what they say they're going to do. You create a team who will go into the administration and start running this place like it should be run. They work for us. They need to be told how to work for us. We work for you. We need to know how to work for you. So, no, we're not better off. We can do a better job. We have to do it as a team and as a community. And we can do so that in 4 years, we are in better shape on all grounds.
Financially, we're definitely not better off, and transparency, we're probably not better off. We have great services in place. Our waterworks and our sewage treatment plant are both state-of-the-art. Unfortunately, they seem to use the theory that we build it, they will come. So they built it, but they didn't come, so now we have to pay for it. So hopefully in 4 years, the new council will have paid off some of that debt and be more fiscally responsible, and we won't have the problems that we have now. Hopefully we'll have lower bills.
No, we're not better off than we were 4 years ago. We're certainly not better off financially. Revenues have fallen in the past 4 years from 30 million to 27 million. Expenses have increased in the last 4 years from 29 million to 32 million. Our revenues are lower and our expenses are higher. Are we stronger and more unified? No, we're not. As a community, we have struggled through too much controversy, too much divisive politics, and we're not stronger and better, and that's what we're meant to be. But can we fix these things? Absolutely we can. How? I will lead a council whose mandate will be to turn the financial future of Port Hope around. And I will revisit the structure of our municipality to better represent all the people of Port Hope.
Well, in my case, the question's a little bit biased because I ran against the current mayor. So I would have to take a look at it and say, no, we're not. And there's a lot of catch-up to do. As a person who's paid very close attention to what's happened to municipal and county government here, I am not happy at the least bit. Most importantly, we have to understand, to be the mayor of Port Hope, it's a 60-hour-a-week job. It's very stressful, and it's going to take an awful lot of work to get things turned around. I know that we're going to have a good team that's going to come in place. No matter who it is, I'm looking forward to working with them and making this a better place for all of us.
No, we're not better off now than we were 4 years ago. I have come across different areas in Ward 1 where the door was closed in my face because I live in Ward 2 and was told, we won't vote for you, you're from Ward 2. Look what the last mayor from Ward 2 has done to us. Well, I would like to change that, to prove to you that we are all one community. I don't believe that we are divided into 2 wards. We are an urban and a rural. We have different needs, different ways of life. I know in town, knocking on doors, you spend a half an hour standing on the front porch talking to a person. Ward 2, you're dragged in the house, sat down at the table, give them coffee and pie. There's a total different way that people are treated, and I'd like to see everybody treated the same and respect given to all equally.
We are mindful of the time and our commitment to our schedule tonight, so we're going to conclude the question and answer portion of the agenda and go directly to the candidates' closing remarks. They have 2 minutes, and we'd like to start with Bob Sanderson.
Our community is dealing with significant issues such as the PHAI, Ward 2 tax concerns, the incinerator proposed by EdTech ramp, and policing and fire concerns, just to name a few. I commit to working with the PHAI, right, to address taxpayers' concerns. I have no conflict of interest with the PHAI or Cameco. I will ensure that Ward 2 issues, including taxation, which is not the only issue, will be resolved in a fair and equitable manner with all parties at the table. I will continue to actively oppose this incinerator and will work with the police and firefighters in the interest of the community to ensure the safety of our citizens. I have 2 grandsons in town. This reinforces my decades-long commitment to the future of Port Hope. I will make you no false promises just to get this job, nor will I offer you fancy marketing campaigns to solve our issues. I will work for good governance, with vigilance, without conflict of interest, and with the resolve to help residents and not hinder them, to cease to spend too much on too little, and thus to reduce red tape, bureaucracy, administration costs, and taxes. I will champion your interests. In summary, I have the scientific credentials, I have the small business expertise, large business expertise, and the commitment to our community. This is now your choices getting close for affirmative action. In this election, vote for change. It's time.
We need to ensure Port Hope has an administration that truly understands and respects the unique cultures and needs, as well as the common concerns of Wards 1 and Ward 2. We must promote open discussion with Ward 2 residents who fully understand and resolve the unity issues. We must provide fair and unbiased representation for both wards, seek input on all issues and projects at conception. The Fire Museum should be supported in their search for a new home, in Port Hope. We need to provide support for seniors, people with disabilities, low-income families, and those in need of affordable housing. Focus on developing the waterfront and the riverfront with all key stakeholders to increase business and tourism. Increase funding for the walk-in clinic to allow for more hours of service. We need to promote from within and buy locally whenever possible. It's important that we have more openness and public involvement in discussions and decision-making in our municipal life. We need to publish council agendas on social media and information boards throughout the municipality. I am accessible, fair-minded, a leader who respects others' opinions and relates well to people from all walks of life, all helpful in resolving conflicts and controversies. Effective consultation, teamwork, transparency, accountability, and decision-making are all keys to successful leadership, which I intend to practice as elected mayor. We need better. We deserve better. I believe I'm the right candidate for the position and ask for your support on October 22nd. And like Bob says, it's time. It's time to vote for Paul Andrus.
The day I am elected mayor, I will resign my position on Katz Media and be a full-time, 24/7 mayor for this community. Over the last 2 months as I've been campaigning, I've talked a lot about smaller, smarter, faster, and cheaper. We have to govern smaller, we have to reduce costs, eliminate overlap, reach out to local experts instead of using consultants. We have to govern smarter. That means more efficient, finding out why spending is out of control and what culture drives that, and holding our staff and ourselves accountable. We have to govern faster, making decisions quickly to save everyone time and money, and heading off problems before they get too big. And if we do all of that, we will be governing cheaper. I've managed business operations the size of Port Hope for years, and I've done it successfully. I lead through collaboration and respect. That's the way to get high performance and high morale, and that's the way I manage. Port Hope needs a business-like and business-friendly council. We need solid business plans to attract new businesses to Port Hope and new residents and tourists. I've been building successful business plans and making them work for the last 25 years. And I'm not talking about smokestacks. I'm talking about viable business for the 21st century. I can do that for Port Hope. I see a Port Hope not saddled with controversy and not saddled with one confrontation after another. I see a Port Hope that is one community greater than the sum of its parts, and I see a Port Hope with a bright future. On October 27th, vote Julie Mavis for mayor.
My friends, very soon together we are going to be embarking on a voyage. That voyage that we're going to be embarking on is going to be the cleanup of Port Hope, which will be starting in the next couple of years. That will be a very destructive and situation that there will be a number of problems. I have to say that I've been involved in this process since 1992. And I will be there to help and guide us through this process. It's going to be tough, it's going to be hard, and it's going to be extremely interesting and difficult. But what we need to is a mayor, a leader, a mentor, somebody who can work with the community, understand the community, who can actually be elected the mayor and not need on-the-job training, due to the fact that I have basically held every elected municipal office in Northumberland County and our municipality, chaired just about every committee you can think of. It is that type of knowledge that when we come into difficult situations, I will be there for you. And I will be able to use my wisdom, my experience, the experience of others, and people that do know, and make the right decisions for us. Our taxes have been way out of control. Our community has not been going in the right direction. My friends, together, We do need to chart a new course. We need to turn a page on the past and build a better, brighter future for all of us. We need to have innovative thinking. We need to be smart, and we can. We've got great people in our community. I will be relying on all of you people to help myself and helping us to build that better community that we all deserve. Thank you very much.
My vision of Port Hope is a vibrant, healthy, happy community. As your mayor, I will make the town hall transparent. I will make staff available for anybody who has questions. I will be available at any time. I was known before as the eyes and the ears of Ward 2 when I sat on council before. I brought forth things that most council members weren't aware that was going on, and always got asked, how do I find these things out? That's talking to people. I enjoy talking to people, meeting with people. I will not always be found sitting in the mayor's office. You'll find me out on the streets looking around to see what's going on. I can't ask questions if I don't go in amongst the community to see what is happening in the community. I'll be a leader that leads, and we will not follow. It'll be a challenge. It'll be a worthwhile challenge. It'll be something we can all be proud of to turn the community around, so in 4 or 5 years' time, we can sit back and say, we actually can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We are making headway. We are coming around. We are turning into that happy, healthy, vibrant community. Thank you.
My dream for Port Hope is that I would like to have a little Toronto here in Port Hope. I know when I arrived to Canada, I worked really hard for make Toronto one of the biggest cities, and I know I can work really hard to make Port Hope one of the second biggest city of Ontario. I believe there is a lot of work to do here. I know Lakeshore, for example, is not developed. We need to use the water for recreational purposes, and also really think about the future of Port Hope. Is really, the tourism, the attraction that we have in here. We need to make more revenue on that, so try to create more resorts, like a vacational resort for people to travel here. And I want to be like an ambassador for Port Hope. I want to tell most of the people who live in the United States to come and visit Port Hope, because I already see the videos. One of the ways I decided to live in here is because it's a fantastic city to live on, and I already choose this city to be the place where I want to live for the rest of my life, and that's why I'm here to try to eliminate the high taxes, because that is one of the problems that we have in here. So if we reduce the taxes, we're going to do that work. So what we're going to do is we're going to attract more people in here to live, because the population is really small. Thank you.
This will conclude the formal segment of our agenda. I trust we've met our objective for tonight, which was to provide you with solid information and present the candidate's view for this important election. My appreciation to the candidates, I think you'll agree they're very well prepared and right on. Thank you for coming out this evening, and thank you very much for your interest in our agenda. I'm just going to pass it over to my friend Jim.
Thank you, Bob. You did a great job as our moderator. I want to thank David Broughton for all his work on the questions, and to Bob Eglin for timing, and once again, especially to all the candidates for their great job. They'll be coming down to their tables for a few minutes if you wish to speak to them individually. And we also have a table at the exit where, if you like what you saw tonight, please consider joining the Port Hope Ratepayers Association. We will continue to ask questions of council as our new council and new mayor go into the next election. Thanks again.